Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas. Sometimes one is very much excited about the kind of conversation that is anticipated because of the individual who believes in challenging himself again and again and again to the extent that now he is known as ultra marathon runner, and what has led Sunil ji to this stage. Let us hear from him. Namaste, Sunil ji.
Good evening. It's such a joy to come back to your Insight Tonight show. I always look forward to these conversations where आपके जो viewers है, you discover new facets of different people that come on your show. So it's always a pleasure, Ashok ji.
So, Sunil ji, I would also recollect for some of our viewers that you are not only a professional computer professional, so you have your journey in the corporate world. You have also written books, they are inspiring. You are passionate about inculcating positive values, helping youth develop self confidence. And now, in the light of Born to Rise, when we look at your journey as a marathon runner, everything is kind of synchronized. So let us begin by the importance of integrity in life, whether it is in the context of the pursuits that you are following, or, of course, relations and everything.
Sure. So, what you said is absolutely true, Ashok ji. We are called human beings. We are not human doings. Matlab, the society has placed such a premium on what we do कि ये बहुत बड़ा आदमी है. क्या है बड़ा आदमी, क्या करता है? वो जो भी करता है वो that determines कि कितना बड़ा है. So we've somehow gone into this world where success is defined by what you do. And to your point, integrity is basically a complete uniform, one single holistic perspective about who you are, what you do, what you say. They are all in complete unity. In fact, the word integrity comes from integer, which is a mathematical term that cannot be divided. So, what you say, if it matches and it is in complete harmony with what you do and who you are at heart, and when nobody is watching, this is not public show. What you are in private versus who you are and what you claim to be in public, if all those come together, I think you're a person of integrity. And wo hisab se, I think what you are referring to about challenging yourself and helping others along the way and practicing what you preach. See, aajkal kya hai na, with anybody with Microsoft Word document can write a book and become a guru, self-professed guru. But have they done it in their own life is a question that we need to ask. In this day and age of influencers, we need to really ask ourselves a question and say, does this person have the bona fide credentials to propagate what he's propagating? And that's where integrity comes in.
So that was beautifully put, Sunil. I'm always inspired when somebody can think freshly or bring certain rays on a particular word or expression, which helps us, which is stimulating and kind of uh, helps us think differently. Coming back to the way you used integrity, took it to mathematics and also human beings, I think that is also very important. So, what are we becoming is also important, and in the process of becoming, uh, generally we have certain compartments in our mind. So, someone who is very good at writing, we won't expect him to be good at sports or
Sure.
racing, etc. Do you see there? I mean, I know now there are many exceptions. I'm also aware that many motivational speakers are also paying full attention to the physical fitness aspect. But typically speaking, academic track and being conscious of physical fitness or giving yourself these kind of physical challenges were two separate sides.
Indeed, indeed. In fact, very interesting that you say the word academic and the word university. The word university is actually a combination of two words, which is uni, single, and verse as diverse. So university is a place where multiple fields come together. In a sense, there is theology, called the queen of all sciences, then there is political philosophy and so on. But somehow, with the advent of the industrial revolution, we've started ascribing value to knowledge and saying कि अगर mathematics and engineering के said, if you pursue this, then you are likely to have a more lucrative career and make more money, and therefore within knowledge we've established some kind of a hierarchical systems. But if you go back to ancient Greeks, for example, their academy, the word academy originally was from the Greek mindset. Or if you go to India and South Asia and you see the Gurukul kind of a concept, it was a whole personality development kind of a thing where mind, body, spirit were given equal amounts, and their time in that Gurukul or university was spent pursuing multiple disciplines. It is industrial revolution and its aftermath that has really made it that we success is just productivity, and we become productivity machines. And now with the advent of Gen AI and AI tools, the pressure to be more productive is becoming the rat race into which all of humankind, particularly urban cities and big cities and civilized societies or advanced societies, are under pressure. But COVID has taught us one thing. If you saw, there was a spike in the amount of awareness about people's health, wellness, mental well being in the wake of COVID and its disastrous after effects. We saw people just fall like flies. We saw our own kith and kin suffer in the hospitals, and we said, if we don't take good care of our bodies, in fact, in my school of thought, in my worldview, they call the body a temple of God. So if your spirit lives here in this body, you need to take good care of it. If it is God given temple where God also lives in you, like in our Indian greeting, when we say namaste or namaskar to you, you are acknowledging the deity or the divine in you, right? Agar if we have a divine element to our body, how can I abuse it with anything unhealthy, like abusing my body with drugs or smoking or alcoholism beyond a limit? So taking good care of your body has been fundamentally at the core of all learning in the past. It went off the conscious radar and then it's coming back. So running, fitness, gymming, all these are no longer luxury of the rich, but it has become a minimum maintenance for a hygienic, healthy lifestyle.
So listening to you is inspiring for some more and less for others. And I would put myself with confessional side in the second bracket. So I appreciate these kind of ideas, and I go gaga and kind of clap for people who are like that. But I find very little of it being applied in my own side. Let me go to the part which we refer to as motivation. What you mentioned about varsity and diverse interests, and of course, academy as well as physical fitness and having healthy food habits, all that. This thing, if we take the example of a tree, so which has a lot of branches and of course it gives fruits and all, but everything boils down to the roots. And from that point of view, what is it that helps you sustain your motivation? Because and some people I have seen, they do something as you are doing for some time and then they lose interest. But in your case, I've seen more than a decade personally. Also, I've
Yes.
witnessed, and then I've read in your book the journey that you have taken. So talk to me about this core um, That helps.
So, you know, I always tell my young son who is now in college, but when he was in a teenage age, I would say motivation is like taking a bath. You should do it every day. You can't say, I'm not motivated to take a bath, right? It's like so fundamental in the sense that we I have come to a point in my life now where I'm saying motivation is overrated. You should forget motivation. You should just build habits and systems in your life that will just push you no matter how you feel on a given day. जैसे running के लिए sir. For example, if I have to run on Saturday morning, which is when most runners hit the roads for what they call their long runs, Friday night, I won't be able to go and attend a party and stay late and cut my sleep cycle and come late in the night and again go back early in the morning for a long run because I will not have my body would not have rested enough to do that long run ahead of on Saturday morning. So if I knew my pre-committed goals that I will be running, let's say, a long run that weekend, I can't be. So the law of causality of cause and effect comes into play. वहां पे मोटिवेशन की कोई there's no space for I don't feel it. But having said that, it doesn't mean that I am not socially active. It doesn't mean I don't have a large friend circle. किसी का birthday है, किसी का you got delayed without your own control. Things happen. But for the most part, are your life's goals and missions aligned to that integrity that you've talked of at the early part of this conversation? We're saying, what is your life's purpose? कि सर मेरा ख्याल ये है कि no matter what your accomplishments are, and in America, accomplishments are dime a dozen. It's easy to become an achiever in America because opportunities are many. But what is the purpose of your life? Is it to just live a
So
rich
yeah,
life, get a wealthy?
yeah, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm kind of thinking that many viewers must be responding to what you just said, that it is easy to be an achiever in America. No, it is not. It is not easy. I would say there will be many viewers who would be thinking, "Oh man, he did it," but I mean, I'm having all these obstacles and struggle is there.
There
So
is,
you just
relatively
give
speaking, sir.
credit to the struggle part.
Relatively speaking, let me tell you, if I'm in India and I'm writing a competitive exam, the sheer scale of competition that I'm facing in India is so much higher than the number of people I'm competing here. Here, the quality of competition might be different, right? So I'm saying just in terms of the sheer number of people that we compete against. If
Population.
I'm going against 1:3, wahan pe I'm going against 1:7 or 1:8. So there is a scale element. Again, I'm not minimizing Indian achievers or Indian. We've seen it. We've come up the hard way in India, and so what I wanted to drive home is there are a disproportionate amount of opportunities here. For example, ये discipline की बात. In our work culture in the United States, if you're disciplined enough, after 4 or after 5, your work calls or your work related assignments can come to an end, which is not the same thing in India. In India, people continue to work till 5:30, 6, 7, in some cases where they are driving back in their cars, they're still doing calls and so on and so forth. So the amount of disposable time that we have is so much more in our control here. So which is what the point I was making, ki that time is your surplus. Are you using it to listen to podcasts? Are you using it to listen to music to just refresh? It could be anything that you're doing, which is perfectly fine, but is it lifting you to the next level that you aspire to? That's the point I was making.
Very well, and I think my query also helped in understanding your perspective better. So let's go towards the love affair between you and marathon. How that all started? Was there somebody who coaxed you initially, and again? the comfort zone. Comfort zone is a very nice place, whether whatever be the condition. So to force oneself to prepare for a marathon, initially it must be a difficult thing. Was it easy
It
for you?
is. It is. It is very difficult, but in fact, it was more difficult for me because my foray into running came with a lot of anger and bitterness and rage, because the doctors told me after a motorbike accident that I'll never be able to walk straight again, that I will always be limping, that I will have to use a cane in some situations as well.
Oh,
It means I have to climb stairs or go uphill, because doctors removed a 5 to 6 inch piece from my right knee surgically after a massive operation, and they said we were not able to put it back together and let it heal in the fracture. It had to be surgically removed. So my right knee came down to about 40% of its original strength. My load as a body was being lifted more on my left knee, which is perfectly all right, than my right knee, and sometimes I would wobble and fall. So to run, even for a minute on a treadmill, I would be scared, because not because I didn't have the stamina. Gymming, to most people do, but it was lack of balance. I would not be able to run without the fear of falling off. From that stage to running a mile, maybe in 12-13 minutes, was an accomplishment. So I just did it to first get my strength enough so that the limping will go away, and secondly, I said, I've got to prove these doctors wrong. They said for the rest of my life I will limp. I will prove to them that I will not limp, but I will do something more active with my life. So it came from a state of defiance, anger. Oh, फिल्मों में दिखाते देखो सर कि मैं दिखाऊंगा ये लोगों को. So that
yeah,
was my love affair with running. My first
amazing,
marathon
amazing.
was a half marathon, 21 kilometers or 13.1 miles, is in Philadelphia, which I did reasonably well, 2 hours and 45 minutes or something, which is not a great time. But that feeling that I ran a half marathon gave me such a huge lift. उसके बाद they experience what is called runner's high, runner's का नशा. And that feeling of accomplishing a big milestone just lasts for a long time. Currently, I am also experiencing that all over again since 2010 till today. And it goes back to your question of why and how you sustained this for 15 years. The question goes back to, sir, when you run a full marathon, you train pretty much throughout the year. January, February, वो time से start होता है training. You start slow, and then most marathons happen around September, October, November. So for about 10, 11 months of the year, you're fully fit. So that's the largest benefit of running a marathon. Yeah, when you put it on Facebook, all सब लोग ताली बजाते हैं. Friends appreciate you, family appreciates it. They say कि अरे ये उम्र में भी ये आदमी भागता है. So all that vanity is good enough. It lasts for a little while. But the bigger benefit is कि one full year, for about 11 months, 10 months, you're constantly fit. You're able to stay energetic. You're adopting a very healthy lifestyle. नवंबर दिसंबर से क्या होता है सर, it goes down because Thanksgiving season में बहुत खाते हैं. Diwali, Dashra, all our festive season comes around this time, and then we go into Christmas, New Year parties, and all that. So this is the time to celebrate. Of course, we are living for roti kapda or makan. They say, right. So you enjoy those 2 months, but then January to till your next marathon, you are again in training mode. So that's the lifestyle I'm aspiring for in the
Absolutely.
last
So
15
really,
years.
I'm kind of interested in learning the way you described the physical challenge, which was additional physical challenge for you, and the way doctor said it. So there was this psychological kind of pressure, but how was it? Like, was there pain you felt? I mean, because what doctor said, they actually operated and removed some part. Then How was it for you?
So even now, like normal people, I can't do a full squat all the way to the ground because my knee does not bend beyond a part, because the surgery part just kind of immobilized that piece. So, first of all, you have a limitation. Then, secondly, running ke liye, you don't need the entire thing unless you're squatting and you're doing some hurdle races, like Spartan races kind of a thing, where you climb, go through obstacles and that kind of a thing. But for just running or road running, you just need enough to get going. And so for me, that's good enough. But yes, it pains, particularly when you do the marathons and the full long runs. In fact, I had to go for a surgery earlier in 2023 for a little bit, so that that area where I had the first surgery back 25 years ago, that area had to be cleaned up. And once they cleaned up, the knee became as good as new again. In fact, for the first time in my entire 15-year running career, I was able to improve my speed so much that I was able to do two sub 5 hour marathons. 5 hours is not fast by any standard, but for somebody like me with a knee disability, it was huge. So breaking records, getting better is like that constant. Just a cricket, may we have these records, right? The fastest 5 wicket on debut, or the fastest 1,000 runs in a calendar. It's all statistics, right? And so after a while, running becomes such a sport. Ki from 12-minute mile, now I'm at 10-minute 30 seconds per mile, which is a huge improvement in 15 years. Because your running capabilities at this age is not a function of just a young people can run very fast, right? They run fast because they're young, but we are in a different season. So to this constant desire to improve puts pressure on you to constantly eat better, train, cross train, and so on and so forth. So, in fact, the reason I wore this t shirt, Believer, is this strong belief that you can do it. You can finish what you set out to achieve. There are two kinds of runners, Ashokji. I'll say this and I'll pause. There are these athletes, these are young people. They go very fast. They train, they do well, and they go very fast. But marathon running as a sport has about 50-60% of people who are called finishers. Their job is, it doesn't matter how much time you do. If you set out to achieve 42 kilometers, you will finish it. It takes 5, 6, in some cases 7. There are some people who don't run. They just do fast walking. They do fast walking for 5-6 hours, and then they finish it. Their effort is no less than the ones that we do. They've trained as well, and they are finishing. I'm telling you, marathon changes your life, Ashokji.
Listening to the story about marathon runners also is kind of changing my perception, if not life. So now talk to me being there, and this was not the first time you have been to such energetic tracks many times. Being there with family means something else.
Yeah. So this pictures that we shared just now is what happened last Sunday, October 27th, 2024. It is called the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C. Marine Corps Marathon is unique in the sense that it is all done by the armed forces of United States. The people who hand out water at the water stations, they are active military duty folks. Um, the people who give away the medals in the end, they are soldiers who are stationed in the DC area. So it's a huge moving. So you take your medal and you shake that young Marine's hands and you say thank you for your service to this nation. It's a very, very moving experience. But the unique thing about this race was this was the first time I ever tried 50 kilometers in my life.
Oh, wow.
Earlier, I used to do all my 18 marathons were 42. And OB, somehow I used to finish with like pain. Just हमारे running circles में, there is a saying that says, pain is temporary, pride is forever. pain is temporary. The joints are hurting, you sweating, you hit rock bottom. Somewhere cramps are coming. You're not able to put one foot above the in front of the other. Then suddenly somebody cheers you. Somebody says, "Hey, believer, you can do this. You're almost there. You go for it." Some surge of energy happens, and then you go forward. I've never done 42 kilometers like finished very strong. I mean, that itself was a almost like it was taking a complete energy out of me, and I was finishing it with like zero in my tank, just pushing for another 5.5 miles. After that 42, which means another 8 kilometers, is going to be tough. And I embarked on it. I believed in myself. I believed in my training. I worked really hard. And then I've talked to a lot of people. Like they say, right? It takes a village to do something big like this.
So very
And
2 3 minutes, and I'm kind of suddenly reminded about the hunger and the thirst. So how that works out when you run 50 miles marathon?
so you have to carry nutrition in addition to the nutrition that they give you on the course. In a 30-mile long journey, there'll be food stalls and water stalls and electrolyte stalls. They by the roadside they keep passing this thing. But we also need to be having our own plan, and every runner has to. It's like sending a satellite into space. There are so
Uh,
many variables, so
Beautiful.
many. So for example, every year when I run, I used to cramp out because I sweat a lot, and my salt and sodium consumption really goes low in the light of what I'm perspiring and giving out. So for this 50K, I had to actually plan key salt tablets we take while we are running. So how many do you take after every 3 miles you take? So it's like a carefully calculated formula. I was able to do it. In fact, after the race, मेरे जो two nephews and nieces who came, I challenged them to another race to run to the car and be with them. My wife was saying, "You're crazy or what? You just ran 31 miles and
50.
everybody else is limping and everybody's tired. You are again taking pangas with these young kids." Because she kind of lovingly reprimanded me. So the ability to finish is one thing, but marathon runners pride themselves in saying, did I finish strong and did I finish with a smile? Did I enjoy myself? That to me is a hallmark of finishing well.
Wonderful. So we will finish this conversation with a smile, and in 30 seconds or so, share the plan for future that you have as ultra marathon runner.
No, my next goal is to do 60 kilometers race. 50 is over. 60 is my next goal. Let's see if my body and my training supports me. We'll always be trying, sir. A marathon runner never stops at the mile that he finished. There's always one more.
Wonderful. Why walk if you can run, and why just run little, little? Run marathon, and that too ultra marathon runner and believer. Sunil ji joined us. Such a pleasure, honor, and inspiration to be talking to you, sir, with lots and lots of good wishes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks
I
to
hope
you.
the viewers are inspired. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks to all of you for being a part of this conversation. Namaste.